Hello, my name is Ryan Watson. I'm a partner here at Upsourced, and I am your host of Escaping Busy Season. In my role here as partner, I spend a big chunk of my time as our chief recruiter. And so, for that reason, I spend a big chunk of my weeks talking to second, third, fourth, sometimes fifth year public accounting auditors, big four folks, quite frankly, most of whom are dissatisfied with their current jobs, but not really clear on what's next. And I'd say the most common refrain I hear from these folks are, I really enjoy the fast pace, the dynamic nature, the fact that I get to learn new things every day. I get thrown into different situations and I get to take a big chunk of ownership. I work with really smart people. My career trajectory is really steep. I like all these things about working where I'm at in Big Four and public accounting. What I don't love is working 80 hours a week during busy season. And I don't necessarily love audit. But man, I don't know what else is out there because to be honest, I can't really picture moving to internal audit. Can't really picture going to some corporate accounting, corporate finance job where every month is defined by the same month end close process, month in and month out, and the mundanity that comes with that. And so I'm stuck. Like, what do I do? I guess I'll just stay here. And I have so much empathy for that because I was a Big Four auditor one day or once upon a time at Deloitte, and I felt the exact same way. And quite frankly, that's what motivated me to start Upsourced. And so after having all these conversations, I just felt motivated to say, you know what, I want to have conversations with people who are on the other side, who have been where you are, who have felt what you're feeling, and have seen that on the other side of a Big Four career, there is so much more than internal audit and corporate accounting and corporate finance. And so I'm starting with talking to people who work for us. And yes, of course, maybe they're biased, but I'm hopeful that by listening to their stories, you are motivated, if not to work for a company like ours, at least to lift your head and broaden what you believe is possible because there is a rich career waiting for you on the other side. So with that, I want to introduce my latest conversation with Jake Yoder, accountant here at Upsourced, who has a very fascinating role with us. So first of all, what were you doing before you came to Upsourced?
Before I came to Upsource, I was working as a audit associate at a public accounting firm.
Okay.
Just did that for a year.
Okay. And why? What made you choose that job? Why audit?
If I'm being completely honest, I had to get accounting internship in college to graduate, and then I went to this accounting firm. I enjoyed it. It was good work, and then they gave me an offer. It was my junior year of college.
Like,
I wanted something to sign up and not have to worry about life after college at that point.
yeah. Got it. Okay. And so you're on the audit side. Did you have busy seasons? What was busy season like?
Yeah, I had a couple busy seasons. My first busy season was definitely a shock, but it wasn't as bad as like my second one. My second one, I went into a public client that had a 9:30 close.
Okay.
So that was around like the end of the year was very stressful for me.
Got it. Like holiday time frames.
Yeah, holiday time frame. And then in that, probably one of like the hardest moments was for a different client. They flew me out to Omaha, Nebraska to do an inventory count, then to drive over to Iowa while closing the other client in the hotel at night in the airplane, and it was just a mess. I got no sleep for like 3 days straight.
Was this like a New Year's Eve inventory count or something near the end of the
Something, yes, near the end of the year. So it was Nebraska in December, and driving a rental car was
No good.
no good at all.
So you were there a little bit more than a year, something like that. So when was it on the road in Nebraska, or what was the moment you realized I gotta do something else?
So it was like partly that, and then also like being in public accounting, you have guardrails of what you can do, you're not able to color outside the lines a lot there. And I missed being able to like create things, like start processes and kind of take my career into my own path. So I was kind of yearning for something where I'd be able to wear more hats than just associate.
So when you decided to leave, which, again, there's kind of this there's public accounting lore where it's like, oh, you should stay this many busy seasons or you should do this, right? And you chose to exit prior to that. So Did you have like reservations? Were you scared to leave? Like, how was that? Tell me about
I
that.
definitely had a lot of fear. I would like look online, see what other accountants say, and they always say 2 busy seasons
Yeah.
is like that's the least they need to do. So I definitely was like worried leaving before hitting that kind of
Yeah, that
imaginary check
yeah.
mark.
Okay.
So I did have a lot of reservations. Also, it was the first job out of college, so it was the first actual 9 to 5 job I had where that was like my main focus. So I didn't really have like a great perception on what other jobs were like in the world of accounting.
Yeah. So when you were looking on Reddit or online or whatever, like, did you see any advice that was like helpful for you or not helpful for you to ultimately make the choice?
I didn't find it online. I did
Yeah.
find it. I reached out to other people who I had started public accounting with, and they had they were either farther in their careers and found something else. And the biggest thing I heard was like, at the end of the day, it's like my career. I need to advocate for myself.
Yeah.
Because no one else will if I don't. And being in public accounting, the people in that space are only going to have one idea of it. That's the only way to go.
Exactly.
But then talking to other people who left, went to industry, went to other options, it kind of opened my eyes to being like, it doesn't, this 1 year span isn't going to hinder me of getting other jobs in the future. It's just something to build my experience off of.
Yeah, I mean, I was there too. Living in public accounting, you're sort of, I don't want to say the word brainwashed, but you're conditioned to believe that your career exists on a very specific set of paths. And on the other side, you realize, oh no, actually careers can be multifaceted. It can be very, but it's not clear to you when you're in there. So, well, let me ask you this question. As you were, you decided, okay, I think I'm going to do it, even though I haven't hit that arbitrary time frame. As you were thinking about what you might do next, were you aware of like advisory, like the work we do now? Was that on your radar? What did you think that was? Like what?
It wasn't necessarily on my radar. Honestly, I was looking with anything with accounting in the name to apply for. I knew of advisory, kind of giving like advice. And so that did interest me. I've always had a passion for like smaller business and like being able to provide value to businesses. Just being a numbers person. So once I learned that was an option that I could get into earlier in my career, because I feel like advisory you think kind of later once you've had the 2 to 3 years of public accounting experience and all of that. I was really excited to kind of dip my toes into that and like get a more hands-on approach to accounting.
Yeah. So now that you're here and you're in this space, well, first of all, like, what's it look like? What do you do? What's a normal work week or normal whatever look like?
Yeah, a normal work week would be like answering client questions about different transactions that came in, categorizing those transactions. I keep up with an invoice tracker for a client, and then also like I have a bunch of side projects working on automations that I can do for our clients and making their lives easier, whether that be just doing something that's manual and setting it up so it's more of just push a click of a button, send the emails out, or it's something where we can take data that the client has and produce insights on that and graphs to help the client make better decisions.
Yeah. So, well, talk a little bit more about that, right? Because that's what you're doing in that half of your job is not what somebody would typically think of as an accountant or even as an advisor, right? You're effectively coming into the workflows that exist at Upsourced, and you are using technology and AI to automate and streamline. I mean, you're basically building a different practice for this business. How did that even come about? Like, what are you, a software engineer? Like, how are you qualified to do this?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a software engineer.
Yeah.
I barely know how to code, but previously, before public accounting, I was really into no-code applications for automation with internships and things that I had done. And that was something that I missed in public. I missed kind of work on those processes. So when I came here, I definitely had my eyes open for things that I could see inefficiencies in. Things that I like to say, I'm kind of lazy. I like to figure out an easier way to do things. If I see something that's too manual, I will raise my voice. And it was really great at Upsourced. You guys gave me the opportunity to say, okay, if he sees an issue here, go spend some time, go figure out if you can make it better, if you can like spend less hours on this task. And then I was able to slowly kind of like build up like a rapport and a confidence of like, I can do this. And then from that, I was able to go and create my own things, create things that wouldn't just help me, but help the company as a whole in the senior accountant role.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, so then, and maybe this is maybe what you just described as that, and maybe it's something else, but what has surprised you the most about this job now that you're on the other side of it?
I've really liked getting to learn about the specific like problems and challenges that the businesses that we work with have. It's cool to see like on a small business scale, or those medium to small business scale, like what are they dealing with on a day-to-day basis? What are their problems with like accounts receivable, maybe accounts payable? That's something that I didn't get in public accounting, because in like audit, you kind of just, at the end of the day, you go in, you're doing a bunch of tests. You don't get to see the day-to-day struggles that the businesses face. And that's really cool, kind of coming from my standpoint of like really enjoying entrepreneurship and small business. And I can kind of take notes and figure out, okay, like how would I run the business? So it's a really like, it's really interesting, like all day to day.
Interesting. Okay. So then having the opportunity to do some of that stuff, can you think of, and maybe it's a bunch of things, but can you think of maybe one of your proudest moments, like the thing you look back on and you say, oh man, I did that? Or, you know, how would you answer that?
So right now I'm currently working on a project of an invoice tracker for one of our clients. Before I came on, they had a very, an Excel spreadsheet that worked, but it was very manual. It caught, if anyone wanted to send reminders, they would have to go, and it would take like an hour and a half to send like a big reminder for collections. And what I did is I streamlined a lot of that, made it look a lot cleaner, so then it was a usable spreadsheet that we could use to get data and insights for. So like, how many invoices have we sent out? What are our most overdue invoices? And then on top of that, I added a script that on the click of a button, it'll take the data from the overdue invoices with the client contacts that we have in the sheet and send all the emails out for collection reminders, cutting the time that I would spend on that client like in half. And like, it was very rewarding seeing like there were invoices that were months old that since I implemented the system, it had gotten paid in like a month or like a couple weeks since I implemented it. So seeing those like real life changes from after I implemented something and a client being enthusiastic and excited about it was really rewarding.
Yeah, and that's a cool example too, right? Because what you're showing is that the work, of course, is accounting related, right? But sometimes people might think like, well, how can accounting help people, right? But in a lot of ways, what we're doing is accounting operations. We're touching like the foundation of how these businesses operate, how they get paid, how they make money. And what you've done is you've taken the work we're doing in accounting and you're modifying, you're improving, you're optimizing the workflow such that they're able to get paid faster. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that is a very cool, proud moment. All right. Well, then maybe my last question would be, you know, it sounds like on the other side of this decision, this was a positive move for you, and that your livelihood now is better than it was, not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like better than it was when you were enduring those two busy seasons. So if you had an opportunity to go back and talk to your previous self, the one that was, you know, driving from Omaha to Iowa, what advice would you give yourself, or what advice would you give to somebody else in that situation?
I think I would tell myself like first to like calm down and like and that there are things outside of where you're currently at. It's definitely like first job out of college. That's like you have the blinders on. You're not able to see like what else is out there or like understand that making like a job, like switching jobs is not the biggest risk ever. Obviously I'm young, just out of college, so it's like I would tell myself like it'll be okay. Just like take a chance.
Awesome. Well, Jake, I appreciate it, man. It's been a lot of fun talking to you. Thanks, dude.